You know, all those people that drive the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris, I've got that same feeling in my head from the gym. So what they get from the car, I get from Lockeroom. And one of the biggest fears I have about being in business, you can take one stupid moment to ruin it all. That fear was enough for me to commit to coming to Lockeroom to change all of that. I'm a big believer, if you can't lead yourself, how are you going to lead other people? Okay, hair and makeup. You come to Lockeroom, it might be the first 2 or 3 months, it might be hard, but once you start to see results, then it becomes this addiction.
All right, first question. Cargo, do you want to introduce yourself? Goff.
Cargo, hear that? Cargo. Do you know in Vietnam they call me cow? Cow. It's Carl. Cow.
Cargo ship's going to be your
Vietnamese can't say car, they say cow. Cargo.
Okay, so introduce yourself, tell us about your company, what you did, or how long you've had it for, and then maybe a little bit of stuff that you did before, a little bit of background history.
Okay, well, my name's Carl. I'm the founder of Meet Magic. Meet Magic is a world first in terms of businesses coming together like an executive connection program. So we've created a platform that will allow executives to meet with other individuals, and for every meeting that happens, we make a huge donation to charity or to offset carbon for the climate. So it's become quite a large program now. We've about 1,000 executives in 5 countries, and we've given probably $1.5 million away to charity. In Australia, we've partnered with the Starlight Children's Foundation, so they're our primary charity that we've been supporting, and they have roughly had almost $1 million from us over the past couple of years, which is really quite amazing.
Yeah. So before that, though, you weren't in charity, were you? You were in something else?
Yeah, so my background is all tech. So I've been in tech sales, as you can tell by the white shirt. All tech salespeople have a white shirt, a good clean collar one. I was in tech for probably 20 years, and the last tech job I had was with Aruba, and that was a wireless company. They were doing Wi-Fi. So my biggest claim to fame there was I put all the Wi-Fi in all the Westfield shopping centres.
Okay.
So do not ever go into there and log on to the Wi-Fi. They'll know everything about you.
There you go. And then why did you make the transition into Meet Magic? Like, was there something happened that you thought, I'm going to do something charitable, but also run a business? Like, what was the...
Do you know, there was... I come from a very humble background, pretty poor. I left school at 15, left home at 16. Didn't really have too much, and it was 2015 or something like that. My daughter was only young. We were watching a TV show called Growing Up Poor on the ABC, and it was about a suburb called Claymore. Now, Claymore was built in 1975 by the New South Wales Labour government back then, and they housed the poorest of the poor in this one neighbourhood. And so what you had over time, over years, was this cycle of poverty that was happening. And so you got these kids from 5 to 15 that have watched their parents and their grandparents just struggle and literally do everything that you do in poor neighborhoods, which is like where I come from, which is sell drugs, get drunk, do all the bad stuff and try and survive. And so we decided to drive out there and have a look at what was going on, because it just felt odd that 50 miles from where I live, there's this cycle of poverty going on in the so-called lucky country.
Right.
And so we went out there, and sure enough, we discovered what we saw there, which was just this cycle of poverty. And there was food ration halls, a food ration hall in Sydney. It's like, what's going on here? Yeah. And so we went to the school, and the school headmistress told us that the attendance was really low because the kids just don't. There's no point in going to school. What for? Yeah. You know, they got no dreams, no hopes. And this was the basis of the documentary, was around these children not having any hope for the future. Yeah. And so on the way home, my daughter and I, we decided to try and do something, and we spoke to the school headmistress, and we raised a bit of money. I think we raised about $5,000, and we put 4 coach loads of children from this. And this was just a crazy story. So there's 4 coach loads of years 3 to 6. From Claymore Public School, and they used it as an incentive. If you come to school, you can get to come on this trip. And these kids had never been to Bondi before. These are kids in Sydney that have never been to the beach. They think their nearest city is Campbelltown.
Right.
And so we brought all these kids to Bondi, and I got Channel 9 to help me put some games on the beach with the Bondi lifeguards. And then we gave them a barbecue, and I got a couple of wallabies to come and talk, a pep talk, and I shared my story about having a go. It was just about, don't let your situation and your circumstance stop you from becoming who you want to become. Have a go, because don't be afraid that people outside of this circle are not going to want to help you, because they are. There's people everywhere that will help you. You just need to prove that you want to change your situation, and they will help you. And so that's what we did, and that was 2015-16. And then it was after that Channel 9 introduced me to a charity called Feel the Magic. And Feel the Magic was this fledgling charity run by James and his wife, who was trying to help children dealing with grief. So when they've lost a parent or a sibling, James basically helped them reconnect with happiness with Feel the Magic. And what he did was he invited them to come on camps and help these kids deal with their emotions after there's a cycle of grief that you go through. And I've just gone through it with my dog, which is kind of crazy. And then what they do is they send them to Disneyland to reconnect with happiness, because it's kind of hard not to be happy in Disneyland.
Right.
And so you go and you reconnect with happiness in Disneyland, and then you come back and hopefully you deal with get some tools to learn how to deal with the emotions of that loss. And so I said to James, make me a head of fundraising, and I'll go and get you some money, because I know some rich people. And so James, he goes, okay. And James was basically a labourer working on a building site with this fledgling charity on the side that he was trying to get off the ground. Just an idea that, it's a lived experience for him, because he's lost his parents, and so he's trying to do something to help others that have gone through that same thing that he went through.
You're both doing this on the side?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'm working at Aruba at the time.
Yeah.
And so I tried to help James, and I went and found him a few $100,000 from some. I took him to Melbourne, and we went to the Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation, and we got some money from them, and that was great. And that was probably the learning for me there, was how hard it is to get money if you're a charity. And after speaking with a few charities, their number one problem that they have was, how do you get a sustainable fundraising thing going? Because you spend $100,000 here on a black tie function, and you might make 150, or you might make 50 out of that. You might make 150 in total.
Right.
It's just cost you 100.
Right.
So there was something in that process that I thought, well, what if we could find a better way to help charities get money? And previously, for the past couple of years, I've been. It's kind of funny. People know me as the best door opener in town. I don't know why that happens, but they say, if you want to go and talk to the CEO of Telstra, talk to Goffey, he'll get you in. And for some reason, that moniker stuck with me. It wasn't me saying it about myself, it was other people saying it about me. And so all of a sudden, these people were asking me to connect them with places, and I said, okay, I'll charge you $1,000. And so I started charging $1,000 for these connections, making a bit of cash on the side, opening the doors to people. And that was paying my rent, paying my school fees, and paying the bills, and keeping me afloat. And then all of a sudden I realised, after the conversation with James, why don't I just give half of it away? So instead of asking the executive for their time, let's ask the executive for their time, and I'll give you a donation. And so there was the foundations of what Meet Magic was the basis was there in the beginning. We had the people that were prepared to pay for some access to execs, and the execs were prepared to give their time in return for a donation.
Interesting.
And so all of a sudden I started asking the execs, pick your charity, who's your favourite charity? And it was everything from BioBail, there was Black Dog Institute, all the different...
Yep.
And so we started basically connecting people and giving money away to charity. And we just said thank you to people. And that's where it started. And then, I then took James onto the Growth Project, which was an incubator for fledgling charities like James. And he got some tools on how to grow and scale his charity. And then he's just popped off. He's like gone nuts now. So he got connected with some very, very wealthy people on the Growth Project, and his charity is now huge.
That's awesome.
He's doing amazing. But it just comes from connecting, and there's a ripple effect that's happened, which is really beautiful. And everyone will talk about now. James Feel the Magic charity really started from the Growth Project. It really took off from there, which I'm very, very proud of that. So that's a long way of telling you about how. And so Meet Magic was formed. So when James and I went on the Growth Project, in the very first day, on the very first session, it's all captured on video actually. That's where I spouted out the words meet magic. I had no idea what I was talking about. It was just this idea, meetings, magic. And the magic came from James.
Yeah.
Meetings came from me connecting people.
Yeah.
And so the meet magic, there's where it is.
Nice. So give us an idea then. You're in obviously this full time now. What does like a typical day look like for you from when you wake up to when you sort of call it a night?
Well, it starts with Lockeroom, that's for sure. I think that's been my go-to for the past 6 months now, and it's transformed everything. But normally I go to bed about 8:30. I mean, I'm in the bedroom winding down at 8:30, and I'm definitely asleep by 9:30.
Yeah.
I'm normally up at 4:30, and then I live in Potts Point, so it's 5 minutes from the gym, which is great. So I hop in the car and park illegally. Because I love that. I love that. At that time of morning, you can park illegally.
You can park illegally.
No, there's great things happen when you get up early, right?
Yeah,
and that's one of them. And so I normally go in the gym 4 times a week. I do that. And then my days normally, I go home from the gym and walk the dog, and that's got to change now. But I then go and get a coffee. But by the time 7 or 8 o'clock has come, I'm already into my first meetings and conference calls and everything else. So, I feel like I've got ahead already because of that early start. And it's just meetings and talking. I don't really plan that much. I like serendipity. I like being surprised. Okay. So I don't like filling my day out with meetings. I think it's bad for your health. I really do. I think if you fill up your day back to back with meetings and Zooms, it's unhealthy. Yeah. You need to stop. I'm a big believer of killing meetings that don't need to happen. So look at your diary, analyze your diary, and you can kill some meetings, you can keep some meetings, and you can probably tweak some meetings. So if you look at your average week, have a look at your diary. I'll guarantee you there's at least 5 or 6 meetings in there you can kill. That if you just didn't have in your diary, nobody would die.
Yeah.
Your day will be okay.
Yeah.
You'll just free up 6 or 7 hours of your time.
Yeah. And
that's what we need to do. We all need to start doing that. Then you can tweak a few meetings, and if you tweak a few meetings, it might be add a few more people to the meeting, or refine the agenda, or whatever else, and they become your good meetings. And then you keep the ones that are really, really critical. Yeah, I do that. So we have team meetings, and we've spent a lot of money building a new platform. So there's a lot of QA and a lot of development work around that, which I'm still trying to get my head around because I'm not really that technical. I'm a sales guy.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's a good day. And then you through the different periods of your life in your career, if you were to break it down into like 5 yearly chunks or even 10 yearly chunks, have you noticed a significant difference in the need for health and fitness in terms of when I'm younger, I'm young and I'm full of energy and my body works, and then as subsequent years have passed, have you noticed a significant change in how much health and fitness matters to you?
Oh, look, you can't continue when you're 52. I'm 52. You cannot continue as though you're 30 when you're 52. It doesn't work. You will break something. Yeah. And I've broken something. I went to the gym with my daughter. And I went to an F45 class, and I popped at L4 and at L5 and got an annular tear. I was on my back for 4 months, and there was nothing I could have done. No one was there coaching me, and that was probably a realization of you're not young anymore. And I think when you get to my age, it's less about ego and looking buff. Although I'm starting to feel good about looking buff.
You look good.
But that's a good thing. I was saying to someone today, I've got this. All those people that drive the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris, I've got that same feeling in my head from the gym. So what they get from the car, I get from Lockeroom, which is just it's the Ferrari feeling, because you're feeling good about yourself. It's the happy drugs in your brain that you get from I don't know, lifting 35 kgs on a flat bench press. You just feel good about doing stuff. But there's been a significant. I think part of the reason for coming to Lockeroom was to try and recuperate my knees and get myself into a better head shape, and then that's been 150% achieved.
Yeah, that obviously at that moment with your back, I think a lot of people hit that moment and then they never recover, right? Yeah. They think it was so bad that I just want to stay off exercise completely. So how did you actually overcome that? Because I think a lot of people get to that point. They get a crippling injury and they're like, no, I'm too old for this now. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to walk and just try and not be in pain. So how did you like overcome that in your own mind?
Well, I have to walk my dog every day. There's nobody else around.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, everyone has to walk, but like getting back into a gym, how did you?
Look, I mean, it's mindset, right? I think part of the problem for me, I think in the beginning was, don't go to the gym because your knees are bad. Don't go to the gym because your back's bad. Don't do this, and you sell yourself on that, and you're your own worst enemy half the time.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason why I didn't. There was something when I saw, I think, a bit of an article that I read about Lockeroom. I thought this looks like a place that I can feel comfortable knowing you're going to get support. Because half the battle was, gym's a gym. It's not I don't need a gym. I need guidance.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. I just spent 4 months on my back.
Yeah, it's bad.
I don't want to go there again. It was the worst 4 months of my life. Not being able to be around, not being mobile, just in agony. Having to. I've got electric shock treatment on me. I've got probes on me to give me an electric shock to take the pain away. And it was awful. The worst thing I've ever experienced. And trying to run a business, trying to maintain a healthy brain, and trying to not be aggro and argumentative when you're in pain, really hard. And so I was really, for me, coming to a gym, it wasn't just a decision of going to a gym and working out. It was I need the full support of people that know what they're doing. And if I don't have that, I'm not going, because I'm not prepared to go down that path again.
Yeah. Were they considering surgery on your back?
Yeah.
Okay. What made you not go with surgery?
I know what that would have meant. There's no way. It would have been months and months off my back. I actually met somebody in the park walking the dog, who just had it, and he said don't do it. So that was part of the rationale, and I thought there's got to be a way past this, and I just recovered. I mentally, in my head, I told myself, I'm doing this. This is not going to beat me. I'm going to win, and I did in the end. And I'm still curious and cautious about it. I think I still feel sometimes that Levi, bless him, he just said a couple of words to me one day when I picked up some weights. He goes, Carl, he said, pick the weights up properly, respect the weight, just respect the weight. And those words stuck in my head. And every time I pick a weight up now, I respect the weight. I did it this morning. I'm in there and I'm picking these 35 dumbbells off to go and sit down, but I'm picking them up in a way where my knees were bent, and so it's that sort of guidance. It's so important at our age. You know, at 52, you can pop anything straight away. You know, it's just your body's not what it used to be.
Yeah, don't take it for granted.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Be cautious.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. So where, obviously, in the priorities of life, you know, business, career, family, health. I think health stays down for a long time for a lot of executives. When did it like start to move up for you in terms of you were really trying to put like time and effort and energy into it?
Do you know, I think we all, as business leaders, we all know instinctively that if you haven't got your health, you've got nothing. You know, there's no point being unhealthy in hospital around your family. It's bad for them, never mind you. Yeah. There's no point, you know, being unhealthy in the office. It's bad for them, not just for you. So everything starts with your health, and it's a revelation that I think it comes at time. We listen to podcasts and business podcasts and everything else, and you know it's all about your health, but you choose not to do things. And I'm a big believer, if you can't lead yourself, how are you going to lead other people? How are you going to lead a team if you can't even lead yourself? And so for me, that was an integrity thing. It was like a congruence thing for me. It was if you can't commit to doing and making your health better and making everything in your head better, because that's what happens when you've got a happy, healthy body. Right. Everything improves, and that for me was, I think it was a big moment in time from the Friday lunches. You know, I'm English, Poets' Day. You know, it's Friday, it's 2:00, we're going to the pub. You know, you're going to lunch. 12, it kicks on, you roll on, all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock at night and you're out and you're blind, and you know, you're waking up Saturday and you're hungover and you've lost the Saturday because of it. And I wanted to stop that. That was not, I knew that wasn't going anywhere. There was so many times in my life where I'll be honest, alcohol has let me down so bad. And one of the biggest fears I have about being in business is you can take 25 years to build a really great business, and you can take one stupid moment to ruin it all. And me, with my luck, the way I am, when I'm pissed, I'd ruin it.
High chance.
There's a really high chance that I'd end up on the front page of the paper.
Right.
And I didn't want that. That fear was enough for me to commit to coming to Locker Room to change all of that mindset. And so, it's just over the years, you know, you have lunches with your clients, and that's how you do business.
Yeah. It's a big part of business, alcohol. Yeah.
So if you're going to be committed to something, to your business, you go for it properly. You can't be half pregnant.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be all in on this. And for me, I need to wake up and be clear-headed, because I've got a team.
Yeah.
They expect me to be clear-headed. They expect that. They expect a little bit of leadership. They expect you to be able to guide them and help them through situations. And that's, if you can't do that if you're hungover.
Okay, so this statement, do you agree or disagree? And then why or why not? So most people retire not because they hate their work, but because their health and fitness doesn't allow them to
I'd agree with that.
continue to push on.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And why? What makes you say that? What makes you agree with it so strongly?
Well, you can just see most people when they retire, they die.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Don't retire. The Asians don't retire.
Yeah.
They just keep going.
Yeah. Till you drop dead.
They
don't. No, they really don't.
They don't retire.
It's
a Western culture thing, and often they get retired because they've not looked after themselves. You know, I think there's something at PricewaterhouseCoopers where they say at 50 you have the exit interview, because they don't want anybody in the company over 50. I think for that reason.
Because their health starts deteriorating so much that they're unproductive interesting.
Which I can't work for PwC, but I think there's something in that. But I definitely think your health plays a big part in every decision that you make, and your confidence levels in business is so critical. If you're not confident, and you know, how can you be confident if you're unhealthy? It doesn't make sense.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, confidence and health are very tightly interwoven.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk about the Ferrari mindset.
I like that.
I got that. Give me a Lamborghini, I got it up here.
Yeah.
So I don't need to spend $500,000 on a Lambo.
Yeah.
I got that Lambo mindset, and it comes from pushing yourself and committing and getting up in the morning and being true to yourself. That integrity, that congruency, that's everything. Because if you're lying to yourself, it'll come and get you, and that's it. It's as simple as that. If I say I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week and I go 3, I've lied to myself. And that congruency comes and gets me, and it tells me that I've not lived true to my word. So I can't do that. I have to. If I say I'm going to do it, I have to do it, and that's been my strength. And I think the good thing is you come to Locker Room, and it might be the first 2 or 3 months. It might be hard for you before you see results, but once you start to see results, then it becomes this addiction, and you can't go this. And so now all of a sudden you've got this really positive addiction. I think they say it takes 21 days to form a habit.
Yeah.
And so I've formed really positive habits as a result of coming to Locker Room. You know, just that early wind down and going to bed early, that's a really positive thing for anybody to do. I don't care what you say. And there's certain people that need to burn the midnight oil. I get that. I'm a lion. I go to bed early and wake up early and eat and mate before the sun comes up. That's what lions do. But you know, I think what Locker Room has done for me is it's given me a lion in the jungle mindset, not a lion in the zoo mindset.
Right.
And most people are lions in the zoo. They get fed every day at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
They go inside when it's raining, and now all of a sudden they're put outside in the jungle and they can't survive. They become the food, and so they don't have that "I'm not you" mindset, because that's what I've got. I'm not you.
Yeah.
And that mindset for me is critical. I can't have that if I'm hungover. I can't have that if I'm not feeling strong.
Yeah.
I can't have that if I'm not feeling confident in who I am. That's what Locker Room does. It's given me that line in the jungle mindset, and there's nothing's impossible as a result. You see everybody in the Locker Room. They've all got that.
Yeah.
They've all got it.
It's infectious.
It really is, and you can't take that away from a gym that's producing that. You know, you've got all these business leaders that are coming in there, and they're all walking out feeling stronger and confident. Why don't you want that? Why would you not want that? Is that not what you're in business for? Either you're in business for business, or you're in it for shits and giggles. I'm not in it for shits and giggles. I'm in it to try and create a world first, and to do that, it takes effort, it takes time, and you need to be top of your game. And if you're not top of your game, it's not going to work.
I think that's a fucking great place to end it. I think the last question will ruin it. Carl,
Yeah.
thanks so much, man.
Pleasure, bro.
Welcome back.
Okay. Hair and makeup.
You're never going to get anyone to do anything unless they want to.
And one of the biggest fears I have about being in business, you can take one stupid moment to ruin it all.
Something in me that never wanted to go back to being the fat kid.
I didn't want that. That fear was enough for me to commit to coming to Lockeroom.
Body fat content's gone from almost 30% to about 20%.
I started to enjoy the training.
There's always a trainer who can sort of take you from whatever level you're at.
I'm seeing changes. Resentment has turned to enjoying it.
In order to work really well, you've got to take care of yourself.
Big benefit is I don't have that slump in the afternoon.
And if you do prioritise your health, you will actually see the results in your work.
I'm a big believer, if you can't lead yourself, how are you going to lead other people? How are you going to lead the team if you can't even lead yourself?